Experience the future of packaging and processing up close and in action. Explore groundbreaking innovations, engage with hands-on solutions, and connect with the experts transforming the industry. See how these advancements can revolutionize your products, production lines, and business. It all starts here. Don't miss out. Register today at packexpolasvegas.com/unpackedpod. You're listening to Unpacked with PMMI, where we share the latest packaging and processing industry insights, research, and innovations to help you advance your business. Hi, and welcome back to another edition of Unpacked with PMMI. I'm your host, Sean Riley, and today we are talking to President and CEO of PMMI, Jim Pittas. Jim stepped into some pretty big shoes in 2018 when he replaced Chuck Yuska, who retired as president and CEO of PMMI after 27 years. Hopefully, we'll find out not only what led Jim into association management and the packaging and processing industry, but a little more about Jim Pittas, the person. So without further ado, welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Sean.
Is it okay if I call you Jim?
It sure is. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, not Mr. Pittas or sir or anything like that. All right. Jim, I guess basically tell us, a little bit about yourself, how you got here, where you're from, where you went to school, that a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So, Sean, I am born and raised in Chicago. Lived there up until about 20 years ago. Actually went to college in the city at Roosevelt University. And as I said, moved to Virginia about 20 years ago for a job, not PMMI. I started working at PMMI about a year after I moved. But yeah, it's
So the move to the DC area was, job based, like got out of college, found a job, moved out to that way.
It was I was working for a company in the trade show, for a for-profit company in the trade show industry.
Okay.
They were bought several times in the time I worked there, but the last buyout closed our office in Chicago and they moved me to Virginia.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that. All right. So then with that in mind, how did you get your start in the packaging and processing industry? Because I know you come from a trade show background, and I know at PMMI you're in trade shows, so I'm assuming there's some tie.
Well, that's it. That's how I got here. It's through the trade show industry. So I was hired originally as director of expositions to run the show department. At the time, we had really one show. We had Pack Expo International as a biennial event. We had just started Vegas when I started at PMI. I think it was only in its second show. Did not even own the Mexico City shows. That came after I was here. But I started in the show department and moved my way up to vice president and then senior vice president and then COO and now CEO. And I think at PMI, that's a logical step to this seat because the show department and the shows are just so important. That's our business model. Without those, nothing else happens. So that's a logical progression. And interesting, by the way, Chuck also started in the trade show world. He was running the AMI shows and moved up to, I don't know if he was COO, but he had moved up to a senior position at AMI when the job at PMI opened up. But his whole lane to get to where he got was also through the show industry.
Probably just the show is so vital to bringing, in both cases, the membership together for their, what's the word I'm looking for, their specific industries, whatever their industry is, it's bringing everyone together. So that's why the trade show is so vital to associations in general.
Well, for most, not all, but for many associations, it's their business model, just like it is with PMI. That it's what funds everything we do. And, if you look at PMI, our membership dues are probably less than 3% of our total revenues. So we have to make that up somewhere to provide all the services we do. It's also, for PMI, and I think for a lot of associations, it's the thing that makes us most relevant to our members, right? You become a member of PMI so that you can get a discount and a priority pick during Pack Expo. And then hopefully once we have you as a member, we can introduce you to all the other great things we do here at PMI. And there's unbelievable amount of, services and research and support, financial, and for our members to take advantage of.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay, with that, your career in mind, what would you consider a pivotal moment for you in your career that, kind of you look back on as if not a turning point, but what kind of sprung you to where you are today?
Well, I mean, certainly getting the job at PMI, taking that job was probably the most pivotal thing. But you can actually go back. My first job was actually selling trade show space. I answered an ad for a sales position, and actually interesting, it was selling advertising space in a magazine.
Oh, nice.
I didn't get a call for that, but I got a call to come back, and was I interested in selling trade show space? I'd never been to a trade show in my life. I remember my dad said, "You shouldn't do this. Go find a real job." But I didn't listen to him. I actually took the job, and I moved up within that company. And I worked for the same company for 9 years before PMI, different owners along the way. But that probably was the more pivotal thing that happened, because that put me on the track that got me to PMI.
But you didn't go to college with the dream of coming out and running trade shows?
No, I actually went to college, studied psychology and sociology, and actually started grad school to get my PsyD in my doctorate in clinical psychology, and I was going to be a counselor or a psychologist.
Really?
And when I graduated with my undergrad degree, while I was in grad school, I realized I couldn't make more than like $9,000 a year at that point, and that just was not in the brochure when I was studying psychology. So I had to change courses. Like most good psychology majors, we end up going into sales, and sales led to operations, which led to management, and got me to where I am.
Do you think that background has helped? The psychology, sociology background has helped you career-wise?
I don't think so. I mean, that's it. Clinical psychology is all about, Maslow's hierarchy of, things. It's just not, I mean, how you get along with people, I think, is the most important thing. But no, I don't think it's done much.
It's not giving you any deep dives into people. Right. All right. With that, and you spoke about your father and not taking his advice, but I'm assuming he might be would he be one of your role models, or who are some of the role models that you have used to guide you up to where you are today?
No, but my dad is. He's still alive. He's 86 years old. He was a Georgetown or Notre Dame grad and a Georgetown Law School grad. He's a pretty smart guy, and
wow,
even at 86, he's probably one of the smartest guys I know, and certainly was a big part of my life, and directed me where I need to be, and work hard, and he was pretty important. Chuck certainly was too. I worked for Chuck for 19 years. He was pretty important, and a mentor, and somebody I could go to. I still do. I talk to him probably once a week since he's left, and about different things. And I found in my couple years here in this position, it's he's typically my first call when I'm not really sure what to do.
Not to step on here. How has that? Because that kind of leads into how is that? It's been going on, I guess, 2 years, a year officially that you've been in the position. How has that transition, or how has that been for you, where you've gone from moving down the hall, but it's a different position of power, influence, etc.
It's been fine. It started actually in 2017, so it was in April of 2017 when I got promoted to COO, and that started the transition. And Chuck had a pretty good plan on this, and kind of told me how he was going to do it, and introduced me into the financial side and the requirements on that. And then slowly I just folded into the other things. But I don't know if there's, as Chuck said, he probably wouldn't be qualified for this job any longer. It's such a different role than even what it was when he became CEO. When you think of not just the trade shows, but the media company, we own a contracting company, we own shows in Mexico, we have a subsidiary in Mexico. The stuff we're doing in education with the scholarships and grants. I mean, it's so much bigger than what it was even in the time I've been at PMI. I don't know how many people were at PMI when I started here, but I bet it was less than 20. And today, we're at, if you include the Mexico office, we're at 150. And the longevity around here is pretty incredible. But we have a lot of new faces too. And it's great. It's really exciting.
Has there been something, which is it's sort of putting you on the spot, that has surprised you, being, CEO or president, that you weren't, not necessarily in a bad way, but something you weren't expecting, or that did surprise you, or did you kind of know the lay of the land?
Yeah, I mean, from the promotion to COO, I think probably the most surprising thing is just how quickly you have to change hats. And the show department's a great place to get experience at multitasking, but it's all within the confines of the show department, right? It's not
right.
We're down on this end of the office in this, in this chair. You got to move quickly from one topic to the next, and a lot of it's financial. I mean, that's a big part of it. We have a responsibility to report back to the board and the executive committee on what we're doing. We do monthly financials, and that's certainly a big part of it, much bigger than what I thought it was. It has to be right. We got to see where we're at. And as soon as those financials go out, we typically get questions from our board, and you have to be ready to answer them. So I would say, just the speed of which it's moving, and then how quickly it goes from one topic to the next. That part has been a little surprising.
Now, I would think this could go one of two ways. Either for somebody they would find that very stressful, or they would find it exciting based off of their personality. Would you fall, somewhere in between, or every day knowing that things are going to change so fast? Is that something you find exciting because it's not always the same, or is it just, to me, it would be very stressful?
Yeah, I don't think the different topics and the speed is stressful. I will say what is stressful is, when I'm addressing things that I'm just not experienced with, right? It's not something I've ever had to do. I mean, some of the HR, well, really benefits, not HR, but the benefits for PMMI. I mean, that's an area that I was a consumer of those things, but I was not one who was responsible for deciding which way we're going, how we're going to handle this, how we're going to handle that. So those things to me are a little more stressful just because I don't know it. We'll do this podcast again in 5 years, and I'll probably feel very differently about it. But it takes me a little bit longer than perhaps it took Chuck, because he had 27 years to figure it out. I've had 2. So, but each time I go through it, I get a little better. We got great people at PMI. I've said more than once that, you could fill a room with what I don't know, but you'd be pretty hard pressed to fill a room with something that nobody at PMI knows. I mean, we have some great people, and they're more than willing to kick in and help and bring their expertise to the table. So
a lot of it's trusting what the people that you have as, your team, which is now 150 people, is know what they're, know the jobs that they were hired to do.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. Okay. What excites you, about the future of packaging and processing, or PMMI in particular? Like what's next, or what do you see as something that, is going to happen in the future?
Yeah. So I think let's go with the industry of packaging and processing. I mean, I think,
sure,
I am amazed how it's always changing. It's always different. You and I, 10 years ago, we'd be talking about the Food Safety Modernization Act. Like, that was the big thing. 15 years ago, it was Walmart came out with a sustainability card. Today, we're talking about e-commerce, and sustainability too. That's a topic that doesn't go away. It just keeps changing. And for maybe some in our industry, these things are bad or stressful, or for us, it's opportunity, right? It's constantly changing. It's what can make PMMI relevant to the rest of the industry, is we can stay on top of these things and provide information and services. And but our industry is always in a constant state of change. I think in PMMI's future, I think some of the associations now that we brought in-house and we're providing management services kind of has set us in a different trajectory. It wasn't something we set out to do, something we kind of stumbled across, but we are absolutely seeing benefits from that, being able to talk about IOPP and contract packagers, as well as PMMI's packaging and processing members. I don't know where this is going to end up, but it's pretty exciting right now that we're continually building these little communities within PMMI. It's as I said, IOPP and contract packagers, but we have the emerging leaders. We have the Women's Leadership Network. We have the school partner schools, OPEX. All of these things are just smaller communities to kind of add up to PMMI.
So that's got to be another, somewhat exciting thing, that it's constantly evolving. You're not doing the same or leading the same thing year after year. It's, new pieces are being added that makes it, that kind of freshens everything up, because like you said, a lot of times with the membership services, like, you weren't necessarily expecting it to grow even to the degree that it has so far.
Yeah.
So do you know if that's going to go bigger than it has? So, or is it the same idea? Like you don't know because you didn't expect it to get this big?
Yeah, we absolutely did not expect it to be even what it is now. We were approached by the cold pressure folks. They were kind of doing this on a voluntary basis. PMMI was a little bit active in that space, and they said, hey, you guys seem to run a pretty good association. Can you help us out? And we started helping them out, which led us to contract packagers, which led us to IOPP. So none of those were like targets. Let's go get them. Let's go do this. It was just, they called, we answered, and, kind of figured out how to make it happen. And we're kind of, still weaving our way through that process. And I think we're getting better and better at it all the time. We've kind of separated it out from PMMI to make sure we're providing the service level that they deserve and they need. There's no one out there that I think we should go after and try this, but that doesn't mean if somebody calls us, we wouldn't do that. We would look into it, but we'll see where that ends up. It's right now it's going really, really well. We can be, it's part of our strategic theme. We are the convening authority, and we can convene a lot more with these little groups all under our wing, if you will.
Right. All right. But how about, when you're not at PMMI, what do you like to do? Hobbies. I know you have a family, spend time with the family. Like what outside of what everybody knows about you, work wise, what do you like to do with your free time?
I do. I have 4 kids and a wife, and so I enjoy spending time with them. I'm a big fan of golf, and actually the best thing is golf with my kids. I enjoy that probably more than anything in the world.
Yeah, that works. Nice.
It's a lot of fun. I played yesterday with my middle son, and yeah, I love that. But I love working in the yard too. I enjoy that. That was kind of a passion in my younger days, and I enjoy working and doing stuff around the house, and yeah.
And you've actually, one of your sons is actually, kind of close to the business now, if I'm not mistaken, after graduating from college.
Yeah, he graduated from Virginia Tech with a engineering degree and works for Walmart in one of their distribution centers as a logistics engineer. And and in fact was at Pack Expo this past year as an attendee, which he had never been to any show that his dad had worked on in the last 30 years. So it was kind of cool for him to see, see what I actually had done prior to this job at PMMI. But he loves it. He finds it interesting. It's more on kind of the back end of packaging, but Pack Expo still was a show that he and several of his colleagues decided to go to source 2 or 3 projects they're working on.
It's come full circle from
Yeah.
All right. And I don't think you've mentioned your Chicago teams yet. I know you're a big Cubs fan, Bears.
I am a huge Cub fan, a huge Bears fan. Yeah, for sure. Not that I'm not a Nationals or Redskins fan, but if they're playing each other, I root for the Cubs and the Bears before I root for the Redskins and Nats. But although I have become more of a Capitals fan than a Blackhawks fan.
Interesting.
Well, I think it's Blackhawks haven't been very good in a while, so I might be doing a fair weather thing there. But but mostly a huge Cub fan. That's my big thing.
All right, well, you're honest. Okay, that's good. So you admit that you jumped on the Capitals after they won the Cup. That's okay.
Yeah, my 2 boys remind me of that I was never a Caps fan until that happened, but that's not true. But that's they like to give me a hard time.
Sounds about right. I guess, I don't have anything else that I can think of. I think we've covered a lot. So I'd like to thank you for taking time out of what I know is a very busy day to do this with us. And, we'll share this with the masses out there. So thanks again, Jim.
Well, thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
No, it was my pleasure. And thank you for listening to Unpacked with PMMI, your source for the packaging and processing industry and insight. Please rate, review, and subscribe. To do that, go to the iTunes podcast or Spotify app on your phone and search for Unpacked with PMMI.